High Coordinator Zeichsel stood at the observation deck of the Galactic Council's central hub, his crystalline form refracting the light of distant stars. The massive station, shaped like an ancient temple with its spiraling towers and golden domes, represented the pinnacle of civilization in the known galaxy. For 3,000 years, the Council had maintained order among the stars, guiding younger species toward enlightenment. Today, that carefully maintained order was about to shatter. High Coordinator called out First Observer Nith, her tentacles rippling with anxiety. Unknown vessel detected at the outer marker. It's not in our database. Zeichsel turned his attention to the main display. The ship that appeared was unlike anything he'd seen in his 4 centuries of service. Sleek and predatory, its hull gleamed with a dark metallic sheen that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Red and gold markings adorned its sides, and massive engines pulsed with an impossible blue energy. Scan complete, announced Technical Director Vian, his mechanical implants whirring as he processed the data. The vessel appears to be designated TCS Prometheus. And sir, it's of human origin. The chamber fell silent. Humans, the primitive species from the backwater planet Earth who had barely managed to reach their own moon with chemical rockets. The species that the Council had deemed too volatile to contact for at least another century. Impossible, Zeichsel's voice resonated through the chamber. Their technology level was confirmed just 3 orbital cycles ago. They were still struggling with basic fusion drives. The human ship moved with impossible grace, taking up position near the diplomatic docking ring. Its size alone spoke of engineering capabilities that should have been centuries beyond Earth's reach. "They're hailing us," Nith reported, her voice trembling slightly. "Display," ordered Zeichsel, preparing himself for first contact with a species that had somehow leaped centuries ahead in technological development. The screen illuminated, revealing a human female with dark skin and silver-streaked hair. She wore a uniform that seemed to blend military precision with diplomatic elegance. "This is Captain Jasmine Wang of the Terran Confederation ship Prometheus. We come in peace, bearing greetings from Earth." Zeichsel's crystalline form vibrated with barely contained shock. The human spoke perfect galactic standard, another impossibility. "Captain Wang, this is unexpected. Humans are not yet listed as a spacefaring species in our records." A slight smile crossed the captain's face. "Perhaps your records need updating, High Coordinator. We've been watching the Watchers for quite some time now." Director Vian's implants sparked with agitation. "Impossible, our observation posts are completely hidden." "Your observation posts on Mars were discovered 50 years ago," interrupted another voice. A male human stepped into view, wearing what appeared to be some kind of ceremonial armor. "I am Admiral Marcus Blackstone, Terran Confederation Defense Force. We've known about the Galactic Council since we detected your first probe entering our solar system in 1947. Zeichsel felt his crystalline form grow cold. The implications were staggering. Humans had not only discovered they were being watched, but had managed to reverse engineer advanced technology without detection. More importantly, they had chosen to reveal themselves now on their own terms. "You understand," Zeichsel said carefully, "that this situation is unprecedented. The Council has protocols for first contact. Protocols that assume technological superiority and the right to decide when a species is ready for contact," Captain Wang interjected smoothly. "We're here to suggest a different approach. Earth is ready to join the galactic community, but as equals, not as subjects to be studied and judged." Before Zeichsel could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. First Observer Nith's tentacles writhed in panic as she checked her displays. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace, they're Drachnid warships. The Drachnids, the galaxy's most notorious pirates and raiders. Their appearance now couldn't be coincidence. Zeichsel turned back to the human captain, expecting to see fear or confusion. Instead, he found only calm determination. "Well," said Captain Wang, "it seems we arrived just in time. Those raiders have been harassing your outer colonies for months now. Perhaps this is an opportunity to demonstrate why humanity might be a valuable addition to your council." Admiral Blackstone smiled, and there was something predatory in his expression. "With your permission, High Coordinator, the Prometheus would be honored to assist in defending this station. Consider it our application for membership." As Zeichsel watched the human warship move to intercept the Drachnid raiders, he realized that the galaxy was about to change forever. Humanity hadn't just caught up to the Council's level of technology, They had been preparing for this moment for decades. The real question was, what else were they capable of? The Prometheus moved like a predator unleashed, its advanced weapon systems coming online with frightening efficiency. High Coordinator Zyxtal watched in stunned silence as the human warship engaged the Drachnid raiders. The Council's defensive fleet was still scrambling to respond, but the single Earth vessel showed no hesitation. Multiple energy signatures detected from the human ship, reported Technical Director Vian, his cybernetic eyes widening. By the Ancient Ones, they're using graviton-based weapons. The Drachnid ships, notorious for their heavily armored hulls, stood no chance. The Prometheus's weapons bypassed their shields entirely, targeting critical systems with surgical precision. 3 raiders were disabled in less than 2 minutes, their engines dark and weapons offline. The remaining ships scattered, fleeing into hyperspace. Drachnid vessels neutralized, Captain Wang's calm voice came through the comm. We've taken their crews prisoner, requesting permission to dock and transfer them to your custody. First Observer Nith's tentacles twisted in agitation. High Coordinator, the Archives Chamber is demanding immediate attention. They say it's about the humans, something from the ancient records. Zyxtal's crystalline form pulsed with concern. Granted, Captain Wang, please dock at Bay 7. Admiral Blackstone, your presence will be required in the Council Chamber. He turned to Nith. Have Chief Archivist Krelver meet us there immediately. The Council Chamber filled quickly with representatives from dozens of species. The tension was palpable. Many had witnessed the Prometheus's display of power. Chief Archivist Krelver, an ancient being covered in luminescent scales, carried a crystalline tablet that seemed to hum with its own energy. High Coordinator, Krelver's voice was rough with age and urgency. The appearance of the humans, it was foretold. The Ancient Ones left us a warning. The chamber erupted in murmurs. The Ancient Ones, the mysterious precursor civilization that had vanished 50,000 years ago, had left scattered warnings throughout the galaxy. Few had ever proven relevant. Captain Wang and Admiral Blackstone entered the chamber, their presence commanding immediate attention. The human female's dark uniform seemed to absorb light, while the Admiral's ceremonial armor gleamed with an inner fire. The Ancient Ones spoke of a species that would emerge suddenly, Krelver continued, activating the crystal tablet. Ancient symbols floated in the air, translating themselves. They called them the Hidden Ones, a race that would develop in isolation, unbound by the normal patterns of technological advancement. The holographic text swirled around them. Beware the species that walks the shadow path, for they shall master the forbidden sciences. They shall appear as if from nowhere, bearing weapons that should not be, knowing secrets that were meant to stay buried. Admiral Blackstone stepped forward, his expression grave. You're partially correct, Archivist. We found similar warnings in the ruins on Mars, but you're missing the context. You've discovered Ancient One ruins. Krelver's scales flickered in shock. Impossible, we've surveyed your entire system. Not thoroughly enough, Captain Wang said softly. We found their outpost deep beneath the Martian surface in 2031. It's where we learned about the greater galaxy and about the real threat that's coming. Zyxtal's crystalline form vibrated with tension. What threat? The Ancient Ones didn't leave those warnings about us, Admiral Blackstone explained. They were warnings about what forced humanity to develop as we did. We detected them 30 years ago, the same beings that wiped out the Ancient Ones. They're returning. The Admiral activated a small device, projecting an image that made several Council members recoil. It showed massive ships, organic and mechanical at once, moving through the void between galaxies. The Harvesters, Captain Wang's voice was grim. A species that travels between galaxies, consuming all advanced civilizations they find. The Ancient Ones fought them and lost. They seeded various worlds with warning systems and technology caches, hoping some species would find them and be prepared when the Harvesters returned. Earth was one such world, continued Blackstone. But instead of finding their technology cache, we found their research facility. We learned not just their technology, but their methods of development. That's why our advancement seemed so rapid. We weren't just copying their work, we were using their scientific principles to forge our own path. First Observer Nith's tentacles had gone pale. How long do we have? 20 years, Wang answered. Maybe less, that's why we're here now. The Galactic Council has kept the peace for millennia, but peace has made you predictable. The Harvesters will destroy everything unless we work together to stop them. Zyxtal processed this information. his crystalline mind running through countless possibilities. The humans had not revealed themselves out of pride or ambition, they had come out of necessity. The Ancient Ones chose your species, he realized aloud. They saw something in humanity that made them think you could succeed where they failed. They saw our adaptability, Blackstone nodded. Our capacity to take different paths, to think in ways other species don't. The Harvesters have encountered thousands of civilizations, but they've never faced one that developed like we did. And now, Captain Wung added, we need to help the galaxy adapt. The Drachnid Raiders were a test. We wanted to show you that humanity can be a valuable ally, but we're running out of time. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just mastered advanced technology, they had found a way to evolve beyond the normal constraints of technological development. They were offering to share this knowledge, but the price would be a complete transformation of galactic society. As Zyxtel looked at the determination in the human's eyes, he realized that the galaxy's orderly progression was about to give way to something far more chaotic, and perhaps that chaos was exactly what they needed to survive. The next several days aboard the Galactic Council station were a blur of activity. The human delegation had transformed one of the diplomatic suites into a command center filled with holographic displays showing the Harvester's projected path through the galaxy. Captain Wung stood at the center of it all, directing a mixed team of human and alien analysts. Their invasion pattern is fractal, she explained to High Coordinator Zyxtel and a group of Council military leaders. Each fleet splits into smaller groups, targeting multiple systems simultaneously. Traditional defensive strategies won't work. Grand General Thexgar, a towering insectoid warrior, chittered in frustration. The Council fleet is the largest military force ever assembled, surely our numbers. Numbers won't matter, interrupted Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel, the Prometheus's tactical officer. His dark eyes reflected the holographic display as he manipulated it. The Harvesters don't just defeat their enemies, they absorb them. Every ship we lose becomes part of their fleet, every world they take adds to their resources. The display showed previous invasion patterns, reconstructed from Ancient One records. Entire civilizations disappeared in a matter of weeks, their own defensive systems turned against them. The Harvesters were like a virus, evolving and adapting with each conquest. That's why the Ancient Ones chose Earth, Admiral Blackstone said, entering the room. They recognize something in human nature, our inability to follow predictable patterns. The Harvesters excel at countering logical, standardized military doctrine. But humanity's greatest military achievements often came from doing the unexpected, even the irrational. First Observer Nith, who had been quietly analyzing data streams, suddenly straightened. Energy spike detected in the Proxima sector. It matches the signature you warned us about. The room fell silent. Proxima was one of the Council's oldest colony systems, home to billions. The holographic display shifted, showing a massive tier in space. Through it came a single ship, organic and mechanical, merged into a nightmarish form. Scout vessel, Wung said grimly, they're testing our defenses. Council Defense Fleet Alpha is closest, Thexgar reported. They can intercept within. No, Blackstone's voice cracked like a whip. That's exactly what they expect. The standard response, the logical move, it's what they've encountered thousands of times before. Zyxtel's crystalline form pulsed with nervous energy. What do you suggest? A smile crossed Wung's face, the kind of smile that had preceded the Prometheus's devastating attack on the Drachnid Raiders. Something they've never seen before. Permission to demonstrate our stealth technology. The Council leaders exchanged looks. The humans had already displayed weapons far beyond their expected capabilities. What else had they developed in secret? Granted, Zyxtel said. Wung touched her communications device. Prometheus Actual to Engineering, initialize Project Phantom. On the main display, the human warship suddenly disappeared, not just from visual sensors but from every detection system the Council possessed. It was as if the ship had ceased to exist. Impossible, whispered Technical Director Vian, his cybernetic implants struggling to process the data. They've somehow phased out of normal spacetime without entering hyperspace. Quantum Ghost Drive, Blackstone explained. We exist in a state between dimensions. We can see them, but they can't see us, not until it's too late. The next few minutes were tense as they watched the Harvester scout ship methodically scanning the Proxima system. Suddenly, the Prometheus reappeared directly above the alien vessel. Before the harvester could react, tendrils of blue energy surrounded it, trapping it in a quantum stasis field. Target secured, Wang reported calmly, initiating containment protocols. The council leaders watched in amazement as the human ship systematically disabled and captured the scout vessel. It was the first time in recorded history that a harvester ship had been taken intact. Now comes the interesting part, Patel said, his fingers dancing over the control panel. Their biological components are integrated with their technology. By studying this ship, we can learn their weaknesses. You plan to investigate harvester technology, Thexkar sounded horrified. The risk of contamination is exactly why the Ancient Ones chose us, Blackstone interrupted. Humanity has a long history of taking our enemies' weapons and turning them against them. We've already developed containment protocols based on the Ancient Ones' research. Zykstel moved closer to the display, watching as human specialists in advanced containment suits began boarding the captured vessel. You've been preparing for this moment for decades. Since we found the Mars facility, Wang confirmed. The Ancient Ones left us more than technology, they left us knowledge of their mistakes. They tried to fight the Harvesters with pure logic and overwhelming force. We're going to fight them with chaos, creativity, and human ingenuity. The first data streams from the captured ship began flowing into the command center. The alien vessel's secrets were already being unraveled by the combined efforts of human and council scientists. The Harvesters expected to find a galaxy of orderly, predictable civilizations, Blackstone said softly. Instead, they're going to face an alliance led by the most unpredictable species in known space. And that's just the beginning of our surprises. As if to emphasize his words, new alarms began blaring. The captured harvester ship was transmitting not to its fleet, but to hidden receivers throughout Council space. The hidden threat was revealing itself, and the true war was about to begin. The data from the captured harvester scout had revealed a chilling truth. Sleeper agents had already infiltrated key positions throughout Council space. These biological constructs, nearly undetectable, had been gathering intelligence for years. Now they were activating. In the Council Station's newly established Joint Command Center, Captain Wang and Admiral Blackstone stood before representatives from 20 different species. The room thrummed with tension as holographic displays showed the spreading chaos. They're targeting our communication networks, Technical Director Vian reported, his cybernetic implants processing data streams at incredible speed. Each sleeper agent is releasing a biomechanical virus into our systems. Not just any virus, Lieutenant Commander Patel added, his fingers flying over the control interface. It's rewriting the quantum encryption protocols. Within hours, they'll have control of every major defense system in Council space. Grand General Thexkar's mandibles clicked in agitation. Then we must shut down all networks immediately. That's exactly what they expect, Wang said, her voice cutting through the panic. It's their standard strategy, force us to blind ourselves, then strike when we're disconnected and vulnerable. Admiral Blackstone nodded, his ceremonial armor now replaced with battle gear. But we've seen this pattern before. During Earth's digital age, we faced similar threats. We learned to fight viruses not by shutting down, but by letting them into carefully prepared traps. High Coordinator Zykstel's crystalline form pulsed with uncertainty. You want us to deliberately allow the infection to spread. Not exactly, a new voice joined the conversation. Dr. Olivia Chen, the Prometheus's chief science officer, stepped forward. Her augmented reality interface projected complex formulae around her. We've developed a countervirus based on both Ancient One technology and human biological warfare principles. She gestured and the holographic display shifted to show molecular structures. The Harvesters are perfect in their efficiency. Every move is calculated, every strategy optimized. But that very perfection is their weakness. Like any evolutionary system, Patel continued, they can't handle true randomness. Their biomechanical systems expect patterns even in chaos. Our countervirus introduces genuine quantum uncertainty into their calculations. First observer Nith's tentacles writhed in understanding. You're not just fighting their technology, you're corrupting their very nature. Precisely, Wang confirmed. But to implement this strategy, we need your help. Every species in this room has unique biological and technological attributes. Together, we can create something the Harvesters have never encountered, genuine diversity. The next hours were a flurry of activity as human scientists worked alongside council experts. Each species contributed something unique: the crystalline Zartl's quantum processing capabilities, the insectoid Thex's bioengineering expertise, the cybernetic innovations of Vian's people. The Prometheus's crew coordinated it all, their experience with integrating disparate technologies proving invaluable. Dr. Chen's team combined these elements into what they called Protocol Zero, a weapon that would turn the Harvester's greatest strength into their ultimate weakness. Launch sequence initiated, Patel announced. Throughout Council space, modified communication buoys began broadcasting the countervirus. On the holographic displays, they watched as it spread through the network. The effect was immediate. Sleeper agents began emerging from hiding, their carefully maintained cover broken by systems going haywire. The Harvester virus, designed to propagate through predictable patterns, encountered random variables it couldn't process. Multiple Harvester signatures detected, Nith reported suddenly. They're dropping out of hyperspace 17 capital ships. The main fleet had arrived earlier than expected, but instead of panic, Wang smiled. They're reacting exactly as predicted. Their entire strategy relies on coordinated attacks through compromised systems. And we just introduced chaos into their perfect machine, Blackstone finished. All ships execute Operation Wildfire. The combined Human Council fleet sprang into action. The Prometheus led the charge, its quantum ghost drive allowing it to appear and disappear at will. Council ships, their weapons modified with human technology, struck from unexpected vectors. The Harvester ships, for the first time in their ancient history, found themselves unable to adapt. Their networked consciousness, infected by Protocol Zero, couldn't coordinate effectively. Individual ships began acting independently, their responses becoming increasingly erratic. It's working, Dr. Chen reported, monitoring the data streams. Their shared neural network is experiencing a cascading failure. They can't predict our movements because they can't process randomness. In space, the battle was turning into a rout. The Harvesters, accustomed to fighting with overwhelming technological superiority, found themselves outmaneuvered by ships they should have easily destroyed. Human tactical unpredictability, combined with Council technological prowess, proved devastating. "We're not just winning this battle," Wang said quietly to Zeichstel. "We're showing them something they've never seen before: true cooperation between different species. Each of us thinking and fighting in our own unique way, but working together." The High Coordinator's crystalline form shimmered with realization. This is why the Ancient Ones chose humanity. Not just for your unpredictability, but for your ability to unite diverse elements into something greater. As they watched the Harvester fleet retreat in disarray, Admiral Blackstone's expression remained grave. "This was just the first wave. They'll be back and they'll try to adapt to our strategy, but now they know that this galaxy isn't the easy target they expected." The Joint Command Center erupted in celebration as the last Harvester ship fled, but amid the jubilation, the human leaders exchanged knowing looks. They had won the first battle, but the real war was just beginning. The galaxy would never be the same, and perhaps that was exactly what it needed. 3 months after the first battle, the Galactic Council station had transformed from a bureaucratic hub into the nerve center of an interstellar war. The once pristine diplomatic halls now housed war rooms, strategy centers, and advanced research laboratories. But today, all eyes were on the massive holographic display in the center of Joint Command. Harvester fleet detected in the Orion sector, first observer Nith announced, her tentacles steady with practiced calm, 5 times larger than the previous wave. Captain Wang studied the tactical display, where thousands of Harvester ships moved in complex fractal patterns. They had adapted to Protocol Zero, developing new strategies that seemed to defy their usual logical constraints. "They're learning," Admiral Blackstone noted grimly. "Not just adapting, they're actually innovating." "As expected," Dr. Chen replied, her augmented reality interface displaying complex calculations. "We forced them to evolve, but that's exactly what we wanted." High Coordinator Zeichstel's crystalline form pulsed with concern. "We wanted them to become more dangerous. We wanted them to break their own patterns," Wang explained. "Look at their formation, it's beautiful, almost artistic. They're not just fighting with logic anymore, they're developing creativity." Technical Director Vian's cybernetic eyes whirred as they processed the data. The quantum variance in their neural network has reached critical threshold. There, They're becoming individuals. This had been humanity's true strategy all along, not just to defeat the harvesters but to fundamentally change them. Protocol Zero hadn't simply been a weapon, it was a catalyst for evolution. All fleet commanders, this is Admiral Blackstone, the Admiral's voice rang through the command center. Execute Operation Sunbreak. Authorization Code Prometheus. Across Council space, thousands of ships shifted positions. The Prometheus led the vanguard, its quantum ghost drive now replicated across the combined fleet. But the real surprise came from what appeared to be empty space. Stealth fleet decloaking, Lieutenant Commander Patel reported with a slight smile. Ancient One facilities coming online. Hidden beneath the surfaces of countless worlds, massive structures that had lain dormant for 50,000 years suddenly activated. The Ancient Ones hadn't just left warnings. They had left an entire defensive network, waiting for a species capable of understanding and controlling it. By the first light, Zyxtel whispered as the massive structures emerged. They didn't just choose humanity, they prepared for this moment. All those ruins, all those facilities. Were a test, Wang finished. Each one containing pieces of a larger puzzle. The Mars facility was just the beginning. Humanity didn't just discover their technology, we discovered their vision for the future. The battle that followed would be remembered for millennia. The Harvester fleet, its ships now displaying individual tactics and strategies, met a defense that combined three distinct technological paradigms: Council precision, human unpredictability, and Ancient One power. Space itself seemed to warp and twist as quantum ghost drives allowed ships to phase between dimensions. Harvester vessels, their crews now capable of independent thought, began making choices that defied their original programming. Some even turned against their own fleet. Neural pattern shift detected across the Harvester network, Dr. Chen reported excitedly. The individuality virus is spreading exponentially. They're breaking free. The massive Harvester flagship, a biomechanical construct larger than some moons, suddenly ceased fire. Its surface rippled, organic components restructuring themselves into new patterns. "We're receiving a transmission," Nith announced, surprise evident in her voice. "From the Harvester command ship, they want to talk." The holographic display shifted, showing the image of a being that was neither fully organic nor mechanical. Its voice, when it spoke, carried the weight of eons. "We remember now," it said, its words translated by the Ancient One systems. "We were like you once, individual, creative, free, but we chose efficiency over diversity, perfection over growth. We became what we are now, a plague of sameness spreading across the galaxies." Admiral Blackstone stepped forward, and now we are changing. Your virus, it awakened something we had forgotten. The joy of uncertainty, the power of choice. We would speak with your council not as conquerors but as beings seeking redemption. Hours later in the Grand Council chamber, representatives from across the galaxy gathered to witness something unprecedented: the signing of the Galactic Concordat. The Harvesters, now calling themselves the Restored, joined the Council not as conquerors or conquered, but as equals. "Humanity's greatest achievement," Captain Wang said to Zyxtel as they watched the proceedings, "wasn't beating the Harvesters in battle. It was showing them and the Council that strength lies in diversity, in the beautiful chaos of individual thought and choice." The High Coordinator's crystalline form glowed with understanding. "The Ancient Ones didn't choose humanity because you were the strongest or the most advanced. They chose you because you could teach us all how to change." Admiral Blackstone smiled as he watched Council species mingling with former Harvesters, sharing ideas and perspectives that would have been impossible months ago. "This isn't the end," he said. "It's just the beginning. There are more galaxies out there, more challenges to face. But now we face them together not as a uniform force but as a magnificent tapestry of different beings, each contributing our own unique thread to the pattern." The Prometheus, docked at the station's primary bay, stood as a symbol of this new era. Once seen as an impossible visitor, it now represented the bridge between past and future, between order and chaos, between individual and community. The galaxy had changed forever. And somewhere in the quantum fabric of spacetime, the Ancient One's last great experiment had finally succeeded, not in creating the perfect civilization,